Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's cooking demonstration. I'm Stephanie Jordan. I'm the local food program manager here at Sustainable Solano, and I'm really excited to welcome our guest chef today, Kristen James. She is currently a student at Diablo Valley College, where she's working on acquiring her associate in hospitality and management with a certificate in culinary arts. So welcome, Kristen. Glad to have you with us.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if you've been with us before, you know that this is one of many classes that we are doing over the next year or so. I think we're going to go through June of 2022. And the point is to raise awareness of all the wonderful local food and specifically specialty crops that are grown here in Solano County. Specialty crops are really a lot of things that we eat. It's vegetables, fruits, nuts, and culinary herbs. So all the classes that we're doing are very plant-based, so to speak, and focus on a lot of that produce that is grown here in our county. And this is also part of Sustainable Solano's larger vision to build a more resilient and sustainable local food system in the county. More on this project and our other work can be found on our website, which is sustainablesolano.org. So I encourage you to check it out. There's a lot going on there, and if we have time later in the class, I will do a little bit of screen share and show you where to find all these different local food items on our website. So stay tuned. So we also talk a lot about the local farmers and some of the agricultural regions that are in the county. And I just want to take a moment and acknowledge and honor the indigenous people who have inhabited and stewarded this land for many generations. The unceded territory of California is home to nearly 200 tribal nations. And so I'll be putting a link in the chat shortly, which gets you to a little map, and it enables you to learn more about the tribes that could be in your area. So stay tuned on that. I'll post that shortly. Also, just a little housekeeping item before Kristen gets started. If you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and then I will read them toward the end. However, if you'd like to unmute yourself and talk to Kristen directly, feel free to use the raise hand button, and then I will unmute you at the end during the Q&A, and you can talk directly to Kristen. All right, and so today Kristen's doing a very unique dish. It is a watermelon curry sauce served over pan-seared zucchini and potatoes. I believe I can share the recipe here. Hold on, folks. Let's see if I can do it. Okay, here it is. So this will be on our website probably within the next day or two, along with this video, and you can take a look at it. So she's got her ingredient list here, and then instructions there. She's got a little optional note here about some coconut milk, which I'll let her talk about later. But anyhow, keep your eye out for that recipe. It will be coming soon. So there's that. All right. And I think that's all I want to do for now. So welcome again, Kristen. Before you get cooking, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and your culinary journey that you're on.
Okay. Hi, everybody. So like Stephanie said, I am Kristen. I am a student at Diablo Valley College, and I always loved cooking. I enjoy cooking. Right now, I'm a line cook at Mare Island Brewing Company in Vallejo. Check us out if you ever are in the area. Anyways, so I made I always loved curry, and Stephanie kind of inspired me to go a little outside of the box, because she did mention that there weren't a lot of people using watermelon. And so I decided to join my favorite dish to make with watermelon. So that's where it came about. And I actually had to go on Google to see if it was a real thing. And it is a real thing. So yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna get started now.
Go for it.
Okay, cool. So the first thing I'm going to start with is I am going to put some oil in my frying pans. So I have 2 frying pans behind me, one medium size, one small. And I'm just gonna put 2 tablespoons in my medium size frying pan. And I'm gonna turn my fryer on low, just so that I can like cut my veggies, but then still have like, still be productive. So that's what we're gonna get started right now. And I am freehanding it. Feel free to use measuring cups and measuring tools. Yeah, I just don't like dishes. So we're freehanding those kind of things. So I'm starting off with my carrot. Everything that you see here that I'm going to be chopping, other than the potatoes and the zucchini, will be rough chopped. So it really doesn't matter how big or how small, as long as everything is the same size. And so since the carrot is a little off as far as size goes, the chunkier side, I am cutting in half the long way. And then I am cutting horizontally and making sure that everything is pretty much the same size, you know, roughly. And then we're just going to put that aside. And then the next thing is our red bell pepper. I personally don't like green bell pepper, and I don't think it tastes really good in this kind of curry sauce. And then on top of that, the color is going to be a little off. So I try to gather vegetables that will join together and like mix well together. So I'm not going to like add eggplant and then blend it with carrots and onions, because it's going to turn out like a weird color. So we're using red bell pepper. And I'm just going to do a really weird rough chop with this one, because it was a little funky to begin with. And I'm just making sure everything is the same size. And that way, when we cook all of the vegetables, everything comes out and is cooked evenly. And I don't know if anyone knows this about peppers, but there's these little white parts of them. And if you cook them for a long time, they start to become bitter. And so we try to get that out so that we're not tasting a delicious sauce along with bitterness. So just letting you guys know all of that. And then of course, we're not taking the seeds with us, we're taking out the seeds. And then we're also going to put that aside. Oop. All right, next thing, I have a medium onion. I'm only going to use half of it. So we're going to cut this bad boy in half, put it aside. I didn't cut it evenly. I'll use the bigger one. So I like to first cut my onion, of course, in half, and then put it on its belly, and then cut horizontally, and then do strips. Not only does it save you a lot of time, your cut comes out evenly, and yeah, you don't have to feel the burn for very long either, because you're going so quick. So we have our yellow onion, setting that aside. Boop, boop. And then last thing we're going to chop for right now, well, yeah, for right now, is our garlic. So I have this size onion, garlic. It's not really big. I'm actually trying to look for a bigger clove, because I like onion. I'm sorry, I like garlic. I like onion too, but we're dealing with garlic right now. So I smash it. so it's easier to peel. And then again, we're just going to do a rough chop. And
Kristen,
none of
you were
Yes.
mentioning cutting back on the burn from the onion. I assume you're talking about making your eyes water.
Oh yeah.
So it's like get through it fast, right?
Yes.
The only tip I can think of is just make sure you have a really sharp knife, because then it won't break apart all those cells and release the gases. Do you have any other great ideas for that? Because my eyes, I'm a mess when I do onions. It doesn't matter. I've been doing this for, I don't know, 20 years, and it still makes me cry.
I mean, I don't have any other, I mean, I do, but I don't know if it's like a real thing or if it's just me personally, but I used to put a cup of water next to me and while I chop the onions, and I don't know what happens if the gases go into the water or what happens, but the crying, it does not happen at all. So I would suggest that too. Try that out. But yeah.
Awesome.
All right. So since I chopped up all of the vegetables that I'm going to saute, we're going to start sauteing them. And first I'm going to increase my heat to medium. It was at low, and now we're going up to medium. And the first thing we're going to do is saute our garlic and onions. I don't know if you guys can hear the sizzle, but that's like the best sign for me. I love hearing the sizzle because you know your food, your skillet is.
Yeah, we did hear a little bit.
Temperature. Okay, that's good. And so during the sauteing portion, would it be better for me to move the camera over here so you guys can see? Or are you guys okay being over there?
You can, if it's easy, go for it.
Okay, let me switch because I don't want you to miss out on too much of what's going on here. Okay. So right now we have the onions and the garlic, and I am going to salt and pepper them right now.
All right.
And just a pinch or two. Just know that as I'm going, I will be seasoning my vegetables as I go. So I don't want to put too much salt and pepper on the onions right now. And so in my recipe, it says that when your onions and garlic start to look translucent, to add the red pepper. And so right now, there are some onions that are becoming translucent. And so I'm going to add my red pepper right now.
This is making me super hungry already. So, Kristen, there was a question that came up here. Susan is wondering, what part of the world does this recipe come from besides you creating it?
I want to say India.
Yeah.
I want to say it was North India, but
I vote India as well. I want to say maybe the region of Rajasthan does some curries like this with watermelon and maybe even some other fruits too. So, because I feel like I've come across it a couple times with India cuisine. So that's good. I love Indian food, so I can't wait to see how this comes out.
Yay! I love Indian food too. Okay, so this process really isn't that long. As you can see, my red pepper is starting to become a little bit vibrant. So you see, this one is like, it's the color starting to pop. And so now I'm going to add my carrots, and I will coat the carrots with the oil. And then after I do that, I am going to go back to my cutting board and chop up my tomatoes. This is not supposed to be in here. Okay. And so I'm going to add a little bit more salt and pepper before I chop my tomato. Sorry, I did sound effects. I'm so sorry.
Sound effects are fine.
Okay.
You can sing and dance too while you cook. I think that's always fun to do.
Please don't give me that option. I will do that. Okay, so I cut my tomatoes a little weird. You know that little circle part, that yucky part? I like to cut that off so I can just have a free range and just go to town on my tomatoes. And again, these also have to be the right size. So maybe like on the cusp of a large size to a medium size would be great. And yeah, we're going to dump our tomatoes into our skillet. And it's going to be so yummy. It's going to be so good. Okay. So I just wanted to show you guys this right here. So I have my mixture already, or my seasonings already mixed up and ready to go. But I want to tell you that there is garlic powder, onion powder, cumin. I added the cumin. It's not in the recipe, unfortunately. I will fix that. Curry powder, turmeric, cinnamon, just a little bit of cinnamon, chili powder, and I believe that's it. But I believe I'm wrong. So, and coriander.
I think, let's see, did you mention paprika?
Paprika, there's paprika in here.
Garam masala.
Yes, that's very important. Mm-hmm. All right. There's a lot of yummy stuff in here, that's all. Okay, so now that our seasonings are in here, it's starting to smell really, really yummy. The tomatoes are starting to cook as well and creating moisture, which is exactly what we want. Exactly what we want. And so now that our seasoning is in here, we are going to add 3 cups of water. I already measured out my water. Okay. And we're going to bring our stew to a boil. Oh no, I need to get that out. That's some good stuff right there. So I'm going to turn up my heat just a little bit, or a lot, and to a medium high. And just going to mix it up just a little bit, help it out. And there we go. So while that is turning into a boil, we are going to start cutting our vegetables for our pan-seared zucchini and potatoes. And I also wanted to let you guys know I do have a watermelon. Sorry. It's a small watermelon, but I just wanted to show you guys some cutting techniques on how to cut it. I remember when I started cutting watermelon was very intimidating. And it's because it's so bulky and big. So but like once you know the techniques and you know like how to cut it, it's not as intimidating. So now I can cut a really big watermelon with no problem. It's pretty awesome.
That would be great.
Get some of this.
Melons are like everywhere right now. And I'm going to guess that whatever you do with that watermelon, you could also probably do with a honeydew or a cantaloupe. And there's just so many cool, unusual, and often very tasty melons at farmers markets right now. And
oh yeah.
Yeah. So, all right.
It's the same technique with the honeydew and cantaloupe. Of course, with the honeydew and cantaloupe, you need to take out all of the seeds, but other than that, you just cut it the same way. And I'll show you how. So first we'll do my potato. I peeled it, and I also took out the little brown spots that like to resonate in the potatoes or grow. I don't know, whatever it was or whatever it did, I cut it out. And so there's, it doesn't really matter how you cut your potato. It's up to you guys. You could do like coins. Right now, I cut my potato in half the long way, and then I cut it again like this. Woo! Again, the long way. And then I'm just going to make medium-sized squares or make a medium to large dice. And I'm just going to do the same on the other side of the potato. Bye-bye. Oh. And then my handy dandy little bowl, we're going to put my potatoes in the bowl. And so for the zucchini, I am going to actually do try to do a 1/4 inch cut for the zucchini. And so somewhere around this would be awesome. You want it to be thick enough so that the zucchini doesn't turn into mush, but then you don't want it too thick because you want to cook it and eat it. If you ever come to a situation where you cut too thick, you can always throw it in the oven and it'll be fine. Be perfectly fine. So our vegetables are now nice and cooked. Our stew is boiling, so we're going to turn it down to a medium low or until you see it's simmering. And simmering just means that it's like a small boil. It's a very slow, subtle boil. And the water or the liquid is still like moving. It's never stagnant. And so I'll show you just in case. I'm sure a lot of you are chefs at home and you already know what simmering means, but just in case people don't know, this is simmering. And so we're going to do this and keep it like this for about 10-15 minutes or until my carrots are nice and tender. And so on this side, while this is simmering, we're going to go to my small pan and we're going to start cooking my seasonal vegetables, well, my potatoes and zucchini. There, that's beautiful. So I am going to cook my potatoes first because they're going to take the longest. But the way that I cook the potatoes, it's not going to take very long. And so I'm putting enough oil in the pan for both the zucchini and the potatoes, just so that I don't have to, you know, keep putting oil in there. And so once this gets nice and toasty, we are going to add our potatoes. And I also have a half cup of water just here on the side so that the potatoes cook on the inside. So we're going to pan sear the potatoes, put the water in the pan and let it steam a little bit. And then we're going to flip the potatoes so that it can brown on the other side. I actually need my tools for this. Yeah, okay. And also, yeah, there's my salt and pepper. I will be seasoning the potatoes and zucchini with salt and pepper as well. And feel free to use other seasonings. Like I'm just limiting myself to salt and pepper because, you know, I like the taste of vegetables. But if you don't, add some garlic powder, some onion powder, even adding some like dried chives and letting it cook with the potatoes. Even a little bit, like a dash of paprika would be very good too.
Mm-hmm. Kristen, I have a question about your salt and pepper mixture. Do you have a pre-mixed batch of salt with pepper?
I do.
Okay, I thought I saw pepper flakes in there. So then
Yes.
What about approximately is your ratio of, or do you just kind of eyeball it and say, that looks about right?
Well, the ratio, like in the kitchen, using regular salt is 90% salt, 10% pepper. But I'm using kosher salt, which is really, or I don't think it's kosher salt. I think it's sea salt. And so that's saltier. So it's more like 60% salt and then 40% pepper. But yeah.
Okay. And then there's a couple other questions that came up, if this is a good time. Kristen, can you hear me? Oh, there. Now I hear you. Yeah, okay. You're good. Sorry, lost you there. Who knows why? It could be
that
anything.
Was me. I'm pressing things over here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Someone was wondering if this recipe could work with butternut squash and or pumpkin. And I think I need a little clarity. I'm wondering if you're talking about replacing the potato with butternut squash or pumpkin, or integrating those into the actual curry part. Yes. Let me unmute you. Hold on here. Participants. Okay. I should have just asked to unmute. Is that working? Let me see here. Let's see here.
Hi. Hi.
Oh, there.
Hi. My name is Peaches. I'm from Fairfield, California. I just wanted to know if you could omit, like, in place of the watermelon, add pumpkin or squash.
Oh.
Yes, as long as the pumpkin and the squash is cooked before.
Okay.
I think that would be like really good because it's going to add like a creaminess to the sauce.
Mm-hmm.
So you're on the right track, Peter.
Awesome. just wondering. And you could also add like protein, like shrimp or chicken or something like that, I take it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay.
Yes.
Just wondering. Thank you, guys.
Yep. Welcome. Thank you, Peter. Okay, so I have my fire pretty high. It's on medium to high temperature. And right now I just want to show you my little potato. Yeah. It's starting to get a little golden brown. Isn't that beautiful? It's lovely. So we're just gonna keep pan frying those bad boys. And so since they are taking longer than I thought, let's cut my watermelon real quick. And I have a mental timer, so you guys don't have to worry about me burning my house down or my parents' house down. So it's okay. I am going to flip this cutting board so that my it really doesn't matter, but I want to practice good hygiene and sanitation. So I'm just going to rinse off my cutting board, and I'm actually going to flip it so that it's just the fruit side. I'm just working on, this is specifically for fruit. So, all right. So the first thing you do when you cut the watermelon, cut off the ends. Switch it, cut off the ends. And now you have a stabilizer. So now I'm just going to peel my watermelon. Ooh. This one. So I'm not gonna lie, picking out watermelon is not my thing. I usually go for the already packaged and cut watermelon so I can see the inside of it. But you know, I've heard so many tricks about like how to pick a proper watermelon, and it never works for me. So I'm the worst person to tell you guys how to pick a watermelon. I am so sorry. I know how to pick a honeydew and a cantaloupe. Just smell it, and
yeah,
if it smells nice and ripe, and doesn't smell like it's old, yeah, you got a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the fruit flies kind of help with that too. If you see fruit flies,
right,
just know that they're sweet.
They know where to go. I don't know.
Sure
The one tip I've heard, and I think it might be true, is that you look for like a little yellow splotch on one side of the watermelon, which is where it's kind of like it's the underside of it where it's been sitting in the field.
Yes.
But I would need to consult a farmer on like why we're all looking for that yellow splotch. Is it just because it's been sitting in the field a while and it's developed that and therefore it should be ripe, or does that really mean something? So yeah, but I think also finding melons that are good and heavy for their size is probably another good strategy, because then you know they'll be good and juicy. Yeah, you know, while we're on the topic of watermelon, there was another question, which is comments on seeded versus seedless watermelon. So do you know what you have there, Kristen? Do you know, well, maybe we don't, is it seedless?
It is seedless.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I tend to stay away from the seeded watermelon, just because it's a preference. I don't like to accidentally chew on something hard when I'm enjoying fruit, and so I just go with the seedless. But I know nutrition-wise, seeds in fruit, like I know seeded grapes are better than seedless grapes, nutrition-wise. But other than that, it's about preference, I believe. Do you have anything to comment on that, Stephanie?
Yeah, I guess it kind of depends too on like what you're going to do with it. You know, in your case, I think you're going to chop this and puree. And if it had a bunch of seeds, that's just one more step in the process to get all those seeds out. You know, on the other hand, I know that some farmers in the area, and I'm thinking about Farmer Ben Lyons at Lockwood Acres, he has some watermelon. I think he said they were Bradford watermelon, which he got from like a 4th generation watermelon farmer out of Ohio. So it's a heirloom variety of watermelon. And so I'm guessing that that is not seedless, and it might have really interesting maybe even kind of different flavor, you know, and it's because it's such an old variety. I mean, you know, it is what it is, and we're not going to tinker with it, you know what I mean, and make it seedless. So, you know, if you want to try, you know, a new or different kind of variety, then you might just be stuck with the seeds because, you know, it's heirloom. So, but yeah, I think it just really depends on, you know, your application of it. So
Awesome.
yeah, those potatoes look great.
Yes, so they are nice and golden brown, just like I like them. And so I'm making sure that the chunkier parts are cooked through. So I added some water, and I didn't use the full half cup. I'm probably gonna just do a little bit more. And I'm just going to let my potatoes simmer for just a little bit. Yep. And now back to my watermelon. Oops, sorry guys.
All right.
So I'm just gonna, unfortunately, throw this away. I'm not sure if I have any health conscious or environmentally conscious people around here. I am so sorry. I really am. I don't have a compost system yet. And but just know I've been thinking about it.
You'll get there.
Don't know. Yeah, I'll get there. I really will. Just be patient with me. And so now that we have our lovely little watermelon, I'm just going to make sure that the green is completely off and most of the white part is off. I know there are names for these things. Can't think of the names. Sorry. Yeah. But once we get all of the parts that we don't want off of the watermelon, I will start to chop it up right now. So I just cut it just like that. It's really easy after you peeled it. I do see some seeds, so I'm just taking some of them out. This one is like really ripe, which I mean, it's going to be delicious. The flavor is going to be there. I just don't like when it gets too overripe and there's like that texture of like overripe melon. I just can't stand it. So I am going to cut up this little guy, and that's what I'm going to use for my sauce. Well, I mean, for the most part, it's seedless, but I am seeing some seeds, some little black guys over here, little black seeds.
Yeah, I feel like there's always a few in there. Doesn't matter, even if they call them seedless. It doesn't always happen 100%.
There's always one that escapes. Oh. Okay. So I'm going to make them a little bit chunky, about an inch, because we're just going to blend it anyways. Woo-hoo-hoo. Nice chunky watermelon. And right now I have 3, 6, about 9. These two are really small, so I'll say 9 pieces. But I wouldn't do more than that. The rest of the watermelon will be used for something else. Okay, so we're gonna go back to my potatoes, and we're going to use a nice fork to make sure that it is done. It is not. So we're gonna add the rest of this water into the pan. Turn down the heat a little bit so that it is a nice simmer. Now, some of these pieces are ready, and I'm going to take them out so that they're not overcooked because they look beautiful. My handy dandy bowl. My mom's gonna kill me with all because I'm using all of her dishes.
But on the other hand, I think you're making dinner for her.
That's what I was thinking, and I hope that she really does try it. My mom and my dad, they're both here. They're trying to not be in my way right now, which, you know, I wouldn't mind if they were. But I don't want to mess up their routine. I'm already messing it up right now, but it's all good. They love me. Okay. This one is good. Yeah. So the rest of these little pieces are gonna, yeah, they're pretty much almost done. And after I finish with the potatoes, I'm actually gonna put them in the oven so that they stay warm. You don't have to do that. You can just put them in the, cover them with foil and then put them in the microwave and it'll be fine. I just like to be fancy a little bit. And so as this is being cooked, I'm just going to find a carrot in here and see how it's doing. Because once the carrots are nice and soft, we can blend it and, ooh, yeah, it's nice and tender. And it's not the like super soggy tender. It's like perfectly tender. So I'm going to turn this off. And, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm really excited. This looks really good and it smells good. You guys, ooh. Okay, I'm going to take these out and then we're going to add my zucchini. And then as I like to multitask when I cook. So I am going to add my zucchini, salt and pepper them. And then after that, we are going to start blending the sauce. And again, I'm not going to add any more oil to my small skillet. There's already some left in here. And it's perfect that it's like nice and brown. There's like brown remnants in there so that the zucchini can also get brown. So here we go. And I'm just going to turn up the heat to a medium high, just so that we could just do a nice quick pan sear. And I have 4 pieces left. I'm going to set those aside just because honestly, I don't feel like cooking all of them. So we have my zucchini. They're getting nice and hot. And since they are going to take like literally maybe a minute to brown, I'm not going to start my sauce yet. I'm just going to continue watching my zucchini.
So Kristen, while you're finishing the zucchini, I might just do a quick show and tell of our website, just so people can see where to find some of the farms that I've mentioned. So let me see if I can pull that up here. Okay.
Yeah.
So here is the local food page, sustainablesolano.org. You would find it by going over here to our work and then just go to local food, and then that'll get you to this. And then if you scroll down, you'll see first a seasonal spotlight. We change these out every month, and this month is all about tomatoes. And then down here is where you really have a lot of the content. So over here on the left is where we've got all of the farm information, the community supported agriculture or CSA programs that a lot of the farmers set up would be listed here. Farm stands and farmers markets. I'm just going to click on that and show you, kind of, it has basically a list here of some farm stands that are in the county that you can check out. Let me go back. And then here in the middle, so underneath this lovely picture, we have the list of cooking classes and then the recipes, which is where Kristen's recipe will end up eventually. and the video. So just to show you really quick, here's the recipes. So we've kind of compiled all of these. They typically feature, you know, a particular kind of fruit or vegetable, or maybe a combination. And so once we click on, you know, one of these, then you'll get to a page that has the recipes, which are here on the screen, but there's also an opportunity to download a printable version right here, which is the PDF. And then at the very bottom, actually, I'm not sure if this one's going to have a video. This one won't have a video because this was a live class that I did. Let me try another one here. Let's see here, recipe page. Okay, let's go to, we'll just go to the summer green beans one. Pretty sure that had a video. All right, so here's a recipe on a salad I did. So then underneath all of this, then there's a link to the video. So anyway, if you guys ever want to come back in a few days or whatever to check out the recipes and other videos, they're all right there. And one other thing I wanted to mention, let me close that out, is Wilkinson Acres, which is near Fairfield. They are just starting their new fall CSA, and they've teamed up with another farm called Fireclay Farms. So I just thought I would point that out. They're just launching it right now. So feel free to check them out, wilkinsonacres.com. Mike and Courtney are the couple that own the farm and run the farm. They have both a CSA and they also have a farm stand at their location, which is open on Saturday mornings. And their peppers are fantastic. If you like peppers, they have a really great bunch of produce there. So just wanted to give them a little plug and shout out. Another one that's just come on the scene is Humble Roots. They're also around the Fairfield area. They do a lot of sales to restaurants in the area, but they also just started a CSA too. Tom and William are the farmers at Humble Roots, and if you sign up for their CSA, they actually have a fun, they issue out a Spotify playlist every week to go with their box of vegetables. So I guess you can turn on some tunes and, you know, play music while you cook their produce. It's really fun. So anyhow, I just wanted to kind of point those two things out. We will go back to Kristen now, and you can let us know where you're at in your process.
Okay, so my zucchini is done, and I'm holding it in the oven right now. I will show you guys when I plate what that looks like, what they look like. So now it's the fun part. My favorite part is blending everything together. So I have a lot of liquid in here, and so I'm just going to scoop some of the liquid out and then pour the rest into my blender. All right. Oh my goodness. Okay. I am not left-handed. Can you guys see me okay?
It's good.
So I learned by, you know, I made the mistake one time when I was trying to make a sauce that was piping hot, that when you do blend hot liquids, you will need to vent it. So I'm not saying that you need to keep the top off completely, but there's usually a little plastic attachment that you can take off. And I would just leave that part off while you're blending your sauce together. Just a side note. And also, I do want to mention that in the recipe, I made the coconut milk optional. Not a lot of people like the tropical taste, and so with their curry. Another thing you can replace it with is heavy cream, which is, that'll be amazing. You can also do like, I guess you could do like a skim milk or something milky. Any kind of milk would do, except for if you do almond milk, don't do the vanilla flavor. That's also something I learned by mistake. Okay, so I took off the little plastic attachment. My blender is plugged in. And so as this is going, I have my soy sauce, my coconut milk, 1 cup of coconut milk. And then I'm just going to do like a couple of squeezes of honey, just so that, because it's more savory, I like to balance out my sauce in any type of food. I don't like anything to be too sweet or too savory. So just making sure my buttons, I'm at a low interval, and then we're going to start. So,
and Kristen,
yes.
Did you put the watermelon in the blender also?
Not
I
yet.
lost track. Not yet. Okay.
Yes. So we're going to do the soy sauce, which is about a teaspoon or 2 of soy sauce. I'm going to take the top off completely now, since I know it's safe. And I'm going to add my coconut milk slowly and surely. And then we're going to add a little bit of honey. Okay, I'm going to put that back on. And I just want to make sure that it is pretty much blended before I put the watermelon in there. Just because, and now I'm going to turn it down so I can add my watermelon. And I'm trying to make sure that I do not make a whole, like a lot of a mess, because I don't like cleaning either. The best thing about being a professional chef is that you don't have to do your own dishes. So when I get home, I'm like, I want to eat, but I don't want to do dishes. So yeah, it's a struggle out here, you guys. So now I'm just turning up my blender on high. Whoa, okay. I hope you guys didn't see that. I'm just gonna taste my sauce. I'll let you guys see it in just a second. I don't know if you could see that. Nope. So this is my sauce. It's a nice, beautiful curry color. Even while adding the watermelon, it doesn't lose its curryness, I guess you could say. It doesn't turn into this salad-looking sauce. I'm going to add some salt and pepper and then blend it again. And then after that, I will do a plate presentation. And then I'm gonna eat it. Oh, I'll share with my mom, I guess. We'll see. So the reason why I'm blending it again after adding the salt and pepper is because the sauce is already smooth, and when you add the salt and pepper, it kind of messes up the texture. So I just want to make sure that the salt and pepper dissolves and that we have a nice smooth curry sauce. So while that's blending, I'm gonna take my zucchini and potatoes out of the oven. So this is the final product of my zucchini. Nice and pan-seared, a little bit brown but not burnt. And I'm just going to start plating everything now while this is going. No. Sorry, guys.
Oh, there you are. You're back.
So I'm just placing my potatoes on first. And I'll add the zucchini, put the zucchini on top. And I put the potatoes on first because the zucchini can like stand up. Ooh. It can like lay down, and it can add layers. And so we like to add, make sure that our plate looks full and scrumptious and appetizing. So that's what we chefs like to do. We like to add layers to our dishes. So I'm just going to add all of the zucchini, most of the potatoes, turning this off, and it's going to be beautiful. Oh, sorry. Okay. So now, with our delicious sauce, I am going to taste it one more time. Just because that's what we do. That's what we have to do. We always have to taste our product. Yum. Yummy. All right, guys. Sorry, it's really good. So I'm just going to pour it over. Actually, a bowl would do better, but pour it over my veggies. It's a beautiful color. And now I'm just going to add a couple of leaves of cilantro to top it off. I like cilantro, and so I know I do have a friend who I don't know, I guess like whenever she eats cilantro, it tastes like soap. So instead of cilantro, you can also use green onions or chives. It doesn't have to be green, but it just looks prettier. You can also chop up the cilantro instead of like, I'm just being lazy and just putting it on there. But you could chop up the cilantro and sprinkle it on top of your plate. And yeah, that's it. I am done.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, Kristen.